Lord of the Rings. The All Blacks rugby team. The hacker. Being the world elite's go-to place when shit hits the fan. All things New Zealand is well known for. For us crypto lovers though, Cryptopia is more likely the first thing that springs to mind upon hearing New Zealand. It was a shitcoin paradise for some, a place to dip in and out for others, or for some a place they, smartly it turned out, just steered well clear of, given their notoriously bad reputation for support and numerous technical issues. More on that later. Like me, many of you watching will have had accounts with Cryptopia. Some of you will have had crypto in the exchange when it got hacked. Hacked being the official story anyway. New Zealand media reported that the exchange based in the city of Christchurch was the target of a $16 million theft in January of 2019. It all started on January 14th, 2019 and continued for 4 days straight, even after the police got involved, sucked out right under the authorities' noses. Keystone Cops, Keystone Exchange. On January 14th, 2019, Cryptopia's website went into maintenance mode, and it remains that way to this day. The exchange's staff reportedly notified and involved the appropriate government agencies, including the New Zealand Police and High-Tech Crimes Unit, who jointly and actively probed the matter as a major crime. Despite that, the transfer of crypto funds went on for a few more days. It was a day many of us will remember for a long time, maybe until your dying breath if you had substantial funds in there. On that fateful day, all anyone was telling us was that there had been a security breach and mass panic set in. The exchange closed in mid-May 2019 and began liquidation. It has been going through the bankruptcy proceedings. Users were suspicious they couldn't or wouldn't provide information and or support. People were aware that Cryptopia was struggling as the bear market was taking its toll and the frustration among users was palpable. You could cut it with a knife. It should be noted that the company enjoyed explosive growth during the 2017-2018 bull run, going from a mere 30,000 users in early 2017 to 1.4 million just a year later. The founders of Cryptopia, more on them later, were clearly responsible letting the floodgates open, considering how they didn't have the ability to respond to support email for days, even weeks. Transactions would get stuck, sometimes indefinitely. In January of 2018, trading was suspended in 2 of its base markets, Doge and Litecoin pairings, with Cryptopia saying it could not handle the sheer number of trades. At the same time this was going on, they were charging multiple Bitcoin for a coin to list with them. I think I heard 5 to 10 BTC a few times on Twitter. If true, absolutely gross. It has been reported that Cryptopia only had 2, maybe a few people during this period of immense growth. These 2 here. But that rose to 100 people, including contractors and consultants by the end. They still couldn't provide information and or support to their customers in the last few months, weeks and days. You could feel people on crypto Twitter reaching through their monitors, wanting to throttle Cryptopia's founders. Making matters even more laughable, but mostly depressing, Cryptopia was registered on the Financial Services Providers Register in New Zealand, which is perhaps the biggest joke of them all. Currency trading, including cryptocurrencies, is an unlicensed activity in New Zealand, but providers were still supposed to have, quote, fair dealing obligations. For people with funds in Cryptopia, it was especially frustrating as they were stuck in limbo after the theft. No one knew for sure whether their coins, their ones in particular, had been the ones stolen, because only around 10% of the crypto they had been funneled out the back door. And it was the slither of hope of recovery that was probably more torturous than it all just being gone. Everyone knew they still had a bunch of coins, and everyone held on to that needle in a haystack chance that they may one day get an email from Cryptopia saying, "We've recovered your funds, send us your coin address, and we'll send them over to you." To be honest, this hope has not yet completely dimmed, but as with most things, time is a healer, and the financial loss, anger, and frustration has waned. In May 2019, the Liquidators, in this case a company called Grant Thornton, took control of the crypto held in Cryptopia's name and applied to the High Court in New Zealand for directions on a range of issues, including whether the funds were held on trust for account holders or whether the cryptocurrencies were owned by Cryptopia and were able to be distributed to creditors. That makes me so angry. Fast forward 11 months, and on April 9th, 2020, the High Court released its decision saying the cryptocurrencies are beneficially owned by the account holders and will not form part of the pool of assets available to unsecured creditors. In non-legal speak, that essentially means ownership of the crypto belongs to the person that deposited and not to Cryptopia or its creditors. Therefore, no one can sell the crypto or dispose of it without the depositor's permission. Technically, it still belongs to the user, aka you, if you have money in there. If sold or disposed of somehow, it would be considered stealing, as per the court's verdict. I have it highlighted here. The Liquidators say the next report was due in May 2020 and they will provide a formal update on the liquidation progress via this report. They added that further analysis of this judgment and implications for stakeholders would be provided in the coming weeks. So maybe June, July. It's unlikely we'll get a date because it's highly dependent on Grant Thornton's, the Liquidators, tech prowess and being able to distinguish what crypto belongs to who. And no one knows for sure if Grant Thornton has any crypto experts or crypto specialist lawyers. Where to go for updates? We appreciate that Cryptopia customers want to know where the process is at and what it means for them and understand the concern they feel, while we are working as fast as we can to resolve the situation. Yeah, right. We do not have answers to many customer questions at this stage. They say given the volume of correspondence we regularly receive, we cannot reply to individual correspondence, much like when you actually had a working exchange. However, we will continue to provide updates via the Cryptopia website, this thing here, Twitter and Facebook pages. The Cryptopia exchange Twitter page is still up. It has 240,000.7k followers. They still have that stupid Shaquille O'Neal meme up there. Let's delve into Cryptopia's past then. It was founded in 2014 by Rob Dawson, this guy here with the baseball cap on, and Adam Clark. They quit their jobs in 2017 in order to work on the exchange full time. We have this report here from stuff.co.nz, written in January of 2018. Rob Dawson there and his triple chin and his 3 drinks, coffee, energy drink, and some kind of fruit drink. Balanced diet all the way. I'm guessing this monitor behind him is him ignoring all the support messages pouring in. Scrolling down, we can see a picture of them hard at work on the exchange there in their offices. This piece is mostly a fluff piece, although it does have some interesting information toward the end. It says Cryptopia paid fees for being hosted on more than 100 servers around the world. The company was also supposedly making large donations to charities. Now that is pretty funny, like that happened. Unless you include Rob Dawson giving a tip to his immigrant pizza delivery boy. It also says at the very bottom that Dawson and Clark have extensive backgrounds in software development in tech firms in Christchurch, a city on the South Island of New Zealand. In February 2020, Stuff, the same website as before, posted another better article entitled Sabotage or Theft inside the 24 million New Zealand dollar Cryptopia heist. It's funny because this newer article has this gentleman here named as Adam Clark, yet the old one has his name as Rob Dawson. However, I am led to believe that this is Rob Dawson. Going back to this article then, it mentions how the company had 1 million New Zealand dollars in the bank, 5 million New Zealand dollars in a third-party trust account. The liquidators converted the company's 344 Bitcoin to 4.4 million New Zealand dollars. Yeah! It mentions how the sale of assets, perhaps these chairs, this fan, these monitors, maybe even that empty can of energy drink, fetched around 200,000 New Zealand dollars, which left the liquidators with about 11 million New Zealand dollars. Unsecured creditors were owed about 3 million New Zealand dollars. However, it points out that left 900,000 users of the exchange who understandably wanted their cryptocurrency deposits back. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It also mentions the internal ructions. Stuff has me really confused now because I don't know whether this is Rob Dawson or this is Rob Dawson. They basically look pretty much like these guys here with a bit less weight hanging off them. Stuff.co.nz. Fire your GAWD-DANG copy editors. They suck. Anywho, the article describes the internal ructions. Clark, who appears to have been the brains behind the operation, was working for another firm that didn't want to let him go when the growth took off with Cryptopia. These guys shat themselves, I'm paraphrasing, and offered a quarter of the exchange to Clark's employers in return for taking care of hiring and administration. This article goes on to say, though, instead of hiring staff for Cryptopia, they hired staff for their company and continued to contract them out to Cryptopia at unreasonably high rates, even including the agreed upon 30% discount. Even after that was taken into account, they were still paying well over the odds. They also, I'm talking about the company that came in, put their staff in key managerial positions. You mean to tell me Cryptopia had managers? To allow themselves degrees of autonomy without seeking shareholder or director consent. It was getting toxic, to say the least. One of the co-founders, Mr. Dawson, stuff has me all confused now. One of these guys went on vacation just to get away from the poisonous atmosphere. While he was away, he says Cryptopia stopped paying him. While he was out of the country, he was not formally dismissed and there was no change of contract. What a bunch of cowboys. And even though I hate to say it, I do have a degree of sympathy for the founders who seem to have got screwed over. But only a very, very, very small amount of sympathy. The rage still boils. Once he returned from vacation, they wouldn't let him back in the building, apparently. This company, which came in, I won't name them, you can find them in the Stuff article, I'll leave a link below in the video description, said, no way, you're not coming in, even though he founded the exchange and put years of work into it, even though it all went to absolute garbage in the end. But we'll get to that more in a little while. He also says this company that slotted itself into Cryptopia made deals to list coins for a fee in Bitcoin, which is well publicized, instead of in the exchange's native coin DOT. Here it is here, Dotcoin. The founder said this had a negative impact on the DOT markets and the ecosystem built around Dotcoin. This ended up driving a wedge between the two co-founders, with Clark apparently thinking Dawson was a bit of a waste of space. Their friendship splintered, but the company kept dragging along. Advice: never go into business with friends. Done it, never again. I suggest reading this article. It is very enlightening. Clark says he never wants to get involved in an outfit like Cryptopia again. Who can blame him? He says he suspects the hack was an inside job designed to sabotage the company. He told the reporter, quote, A hacker/hackers somehow knew where everything was. Someone walked in with all the keys and deleted the logs on the way out. They didn't take the untraceable currency. It wasn't about spending the money. It was about effing the company. They had direct access. End quote. Dawson, the other co-founder, agrees. He says for it to have been an external breach would mean there would have to have been a significant chain of failures, demonstrating some level of competence on the attacker's part, adding the way the coins were moved out of Cryptopia appears to be amateurish if the intent was to cash out. However, if there was no intent to cash out, then the intent could be to do damage to the company, in which case how they moved the funds out didn't matter. He also commented elsewhere that he believes the hack/theft was orchestrated to bury everything they, the company that moved in, smelling the money, had done, and was planned to happen before the co-founders removed them so that they could tidily explain the state they had gotten the company into, and then rushed after their plan was interrupted when they were forcibly removed from the company. Wow, you made it this far into the video. You must be liking what you're watching/hearing. Please, if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button like my grandmother here. If she can do it, you can do it. And she's only got some crappy Dell laptop. Also, hit thumbs up. Comment below if you were affected by this whole Cryptopia debacle. I don't want to feel this way, but I do kind of feel a tiny 1% bad for the co-founders, but then I don't 99%. They should have realized they were in way above their heads when they went from 30,000 odd customers to 1.4 million and sold 100% instead of being greedy. And also, who knows what really happened to this day? No one really knows, including these Keystone cops for sure, which is ridiculous to me. Who the fuck is running this investigation? It cannot be that hard, can it? Just search for a former employee suddenly driving around in a jet black Lambo. Check him out, call him in for questioning. I don't know. Just do your freaking jobs. Keystone cops. And mate, lay off the pies, son. Going back to this Stuff article, it points out that the co-founders have done pretty well for themselves financially. They say this is Adam Clark's beachside pad in New Brighton. Quite a spacious place. 2 automobiles outside. They say this is Dawson's Weegram home. Looks unkempt, to say the least. The report says the house looks almost abandoned. But still, for people who have lost money in Cryptopia, it must make their blood boil seeing that these 2 guys are living rather palatial lifestyles on the back of Cryptopia. That said, I don't begrudge them money. They built Cryptopia from the ground up, and I'm sure they made a lot of money out of cryptocurrency as well. I am not, I stress, not levelling any accusations, by the way, cause if the freaking New Zealand police can't figure it out, I certainly can't. I was fortunate not to have funds in Cryptopia at the time. If you did, it sucks. I've been there. I've been exit scammed twice myself. I feel you. If it affected you, I'm sure you're going to stick by my mantra from this day forth. Not your keys, not your coins. Apart from my XDAI stake that's in Bitmax. Cryptopia, I definitely cannot say I miss you. I don't. However, some of the runs on that exchange were freaking out of this world. Unreal. According to a recent tweet by Nick Patel, he said a coin called Neutron went from 50, get this, to 19,000 sats in 4 months on Cryptopia. Hush, which I made a video on here, check it out later, went from 600 to 165,000 sats in the same period. Another coin, Crave, went from 500 to almost 200,000 sats in 16 months. Dang it. Do not tell me it's alt season until we see those kind of gains again. Hope you enjoyed my video. If you're not a subscriber, click subscribe. Also, thumbs up, comment below. Share with all your crypto friends and internet groups. If you have been affected by the Cryptopia theft, comment below. Let me be your comfort blanket. Trust me, I know the feeling. I've had well over 3 Bitcoin stolen in exit scams. Yes, you heard that correctly. 3 freaking Bitcoin gone. Poof. 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 But I'm still here, and you'll still be here because you love this game. We are gluttons for punishment, but also the takers of gains. You can also follow me on Twitter, CryptoFrog202. Until we meet again, stack the Chad. Don't get exit scammed. Not your keys, not your coins. Peace.